Yes, welcome into Sports Bit. Betting Insight today, Pauly and Teddy, Monday, April 10th. 4 big games to go over, 3 in the association, and they raise the banner tonight in Wrigley. Dodgers against the Cubs, and we get out of here with the play of the day. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books in a second. You know how we always start the show. But Sergio exercises the demons. His first win after 22 previous top 10 finishes in majors. His third top 5 finish. The last 4 majors. He's 37 years old. He finally won, and he has the green jacket.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, okay, when you have 22 previous top 10 finishes in majors, okay, and you're on the 18th hole, and you've got a 3-foot putt to win the Masters, you're supposed to make that. You know, yay, the other guy screwed up more in the extra session. Sergio gets the win. I don't know. I wasn't impressed, Pauly. And I certainly wasn't impressed because we didn't cash any of those long shot tickets.
Well, with Peters, I know Brady Cannon talked about Thomas Peters, and he made a run, but it was a weird tournament. And I'm very surprised it was only a 2-horse race down the stretch. Spieth couldn't make a run. He rebounded nicely from the quadruple bogey on Thursday. Scott seemingly had a birdie opportunity at every hole. He couldn't make a run. Rory didn't do anything till a late push Sunday. He actually finished in 7th. Fowler couldn't do anything. And Phil, I mean, you tell me Phil's in this thing going into the weekend, and then he vomited on himself. Maybe the Walters news made him sick.
Yeah, though I'm telling you, you're seeing out there in the newspapers, Walter's going to do 5 to 10. My sources tell me that's not going to happen. They made the number on BW, spending a night. I believe the actual terminology on the wager was ever spending a night in federal prison, made about a $1.50 underdog. He's still got plenty of appeals and live in those appeals, in my source's opinion.
Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. How about some horrible beats? It was a wild Sunday in the world of sports. It's hard to call it a bad bet because you're up 26 in the 4th quarter. But they bet Cleveland -2, up all the way to -5 on the road. Atlanta scored 80 points in the second half in an overtime, and the Cavs blow that 26-point lead.
Yeah, I had Cleveland in my pocket yesterday. I advised my clients to do the same. And I mean, it was nothing but Cleveland money. I got on at -2. It closed -5. And whatever, they're up by 26 going in the 4th. They're up 16 with 6 minutes left. But this one's kind of on LeBron, okay? LeBron can't get the ball in with 18 seconds left, commits a turnover. He fouls Hardaway with 13 seconds left, gives up 2 free throws. Fouls Millsap on a 3-point attempt with 10 seconds left. Millsap hit all 3. And then an awful inbounds play in the final possession that caused a turnover that got credited to Kyrie, set Millsap up for the game-tying shot. LeBron was the GOAT, and the Hawks, all of a sudden on a 3-0 straight-up an ATS run over Cleveland and Boston, who are tied for the #1 seed. And, 2 wins over the Cavs over the weekend. 1 with the starters, 1 without for Atlanta. How about this tweet from ESPN Stats and Info? The last time a team leading by 26 or more points entering the 4th quarter lost, December 2012. Doesn't happen every day, Pauly.
Yeah. How about what happened Friday night? Atlanta +15, 1. Detroit +12, 1. Phoenix +9, 1. $100 money line parlay paid $58,000.
And that's just a 3-teamer. That's the insanity of it. That's not a 12-teamer. That's not a 10-teamer. That's a frickin' 3-teamer that paid $58,000 on a $100 wager, which shows some of the opportunities that are out there. I continue to say the underdog money line parlay is the single biggest area of vulnerability for sportsbooks. When you have a night like Friday and some of those big dogs cash, you can turn a little bit into a lot in a hurry.
Bad beat, bad bet. Orioles and the Yankees. Orioles 25-cent move at home, and the total was bet to 8.5. And then a shenanigans in the 9th inning. The Yankees win 7-3.
Yeah, I mean, there's steam against the Yankees with the Gary Sanchez injury, but Baltimore bullpen wasn't set. Brackens and Britton both worked each of the first 2 games in the series, weren't able to pitch in the 3rd, so Baltimore up into the 8th inning, but without that duo, the bullpen allows 7 runs over the final 4 innings.
Get the big guy up there. Here comes a couple mooses here. Seattle and the Angels. Seattle led 9-3 in the top of the 9th. Going to the bottom of the 9th, rather, they led 9-3. And then there's 2 outs, and all hell breaks loose for the Angels at William Hill. 40-1 if you took the Angels.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, Edwin Diaz comes in as a closer. He gets the first 2 batters he faced out. And then all of a sudden is pouring gas in the fire. Pujols with a 2-run single. Then Cliff Pennington driving in Mike Trout for the win. And again, you want to talk about long shots? Here's a tweet from ESPN Stats and Info. Entering today, or yesterday now, teams had lost 346 consecutive games when trailing by 6 or more runs entering the ninth. So, Pauly, I had a weird day yesterday. I had the Cavs minus the points, and then I had the Angels. How do you walk out of the day? All right. 1-1. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, you're looking for a tall building if you had Seattle, I can tell you that. And here's the tweet. The in-play replay at William Hill US on Twitter. 5 winning bettors had the Angels 40-1 to overcome the 6-run deficit and come back and win. Well done if you had that out there. And this is so good. We have to tell you what happened Friday night. I retweeted it. A couple. This is a moose. Yeah. Memphis is laying 12. They're up 10, 98-88. The score's important because they can just run the clock. Just the shot clock is off, so they can just dribble it out. But this kid shoots from the parking lot at the buzzer and nails a 3 to make it 101-88. They win by 13. If you had 12.5 for 12, you rip up your ticket on the Knicks. It's a moose and a half. The kid shot the ball because the fans get free chicken if it's 100 points.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's free Popeyes, man. So, and when you say from the parking lot, you're not kidding. I mean, he was one step in from half court. They were just dribbling out the clock, dribbling out. It's a moral equivalent of losing a game as someone takes a knee in the NFL. Those are tough. That might well be the worst beat of the season. Even if it wasn't a right side, that game's over. Well, not for the Popeyes chicken fans. Oh, goodness, that was brutal. And yeah, it's a type of beat you got to talk about on Monday, even though it happened on Friday. That's how bad it was.
Well, you're right about that. A couple bad bets. The Tigers, 30-cent move at home against the Red Sox. They went off the favorites. They lost 7-5. Their bullpen, horrible. 4 runs over 2 2/3, and a tough beat for the fans and the team. And if you had the Maple Leafs in your pocket, they led 2-0 at home and lost, which means they just needed to get 1 point against Columbus, who had lost 6 in a row. Now they have to face the Capitals in the first round, the top team, and they had 118 points. They went from, hey, they can make a run in the playoffs to likely one and done as they take on the juggernaut, although it wouldn't be the first time the Capitals have choked.
Yeah, with the first time. The Caps lose its favorites in the playoffs every year, don't they? I mean, literally every year the Caps lose, so it's not a disaster. But, let's go back to that Detroit bullpen. We want to point out bad bullpens early. Tigers' bullpen is a freaking gas can. Daniel Norris threw a gem. The relievers gave up 4 runs over 2 2/3. That's going to be a prevailing theme with Detroit over the course of this season.
Bad for the books. There was some Suns money. Believe it or not, they went off the favorite, and they were right. They beat Dallas at home by 13 and scored a ton of points, and the Rockets-Kings over. 3-point move on the total up to 225.5. Forget about it. 263 points scored in that one.
Yeah, the Rockets could care less about defense with that number 3 seed clinched, but they still want James Harden to get his numbers for the MVP. Harden, 36 points, 15 assists. That game was what? $140 at halftime. Wasn't much of a sweat there, and not a good result for the house. But, how silly is this MVP race? Harden's playing 36 minutes in a game that means nothing to Houston in the standings in any way. They got the 3 seed locked up. And since clinching that 3 seed, Harden's played 38 minutes, 37 minutes, 36 minutes in 3 games versus sub-500 teams. That is for an MVP race. It's not for a championship.
I enjoyed Westbrook in the game Friday, down with 3 minutes left, down 25, trying to get another assist. That was classic. We have 3 voters now that have gone public with what they're going to do. 2 Hardens and 1 Kawhi Leonard, which is interesting. So we'll see how that plays out with the MVP. So everyone's saying it's all over for Westbrook. At least that's 3 votes in so far, no Westbrook. Up next, big game breakdown. Look at this game. It's huge. The Cavs and the Heat. Does anybody want the 1 seed in the East? And we'll get to San Antonio, Portland, the Rockets and the Clippers, and the Cubs and the Dodgers on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
Go to SBROdds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Back on SportsBit, Betting Insight today, Pauly and Teddy. Time for big game breakdown. As always, live odds, sportsbookreview.com. No line, Cavs and the Heat. Huge game tonight in the association. Look at this. Cleveland and Boston tied for the 1 seed, although the Cavs have the tiebreaker, both 51 and 29. At the bottom of the East, Indiana's the 7. They're 500. Chicago and Miami, both 39 and 41. Although the Bulls have the tiebreaker, and they close with Orlando and Brooklyn at home. They're minus $5 in one spot to make the playoffs. Heat plus 220 to get in. Two Miami thump jobs in March. March 4th, Heat were laying 8. No Kyrie, no James, no Love. They won 120-92 at home. The rematch 2 days later. So if everyone think, okay, well, the Cavs are going to get ticked off. They were laying 9.5 in that game. They lost outright. 106-98. No Love, but the Heat led by 18 into the fourth. Again, the Cavs can't defend, Teddy.
Yeah, okay, so here's my number after the Cavs lost an OT for this game. That's Heat -4, and that's if the Cavs play everybody. I don't know that we're going to see the Cavs play everybody in this ball game. I don't know if we're going to see the Cavs play anybody in this contest. I mean, LeBron, 32 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists yesterday. Kyrie had 45 and 9, went nuts from downtown in the game in Atlanta, But, of course, it's still a team game, No Hawks player had more than 22 points, 9 rebounds or 5 assists, but they played much better team basketball. The question is, does Tyronn Lue go after this game or rest his key players? How much does the number 1 seed at the potential cost? Because look at the Sunday minutes. This graphic will show it real clear. LeBron, 46.5. Irving, 44.5. Love, 42.5 in yesterday's game. Might make more sense to rest those guys, even at the expense of the number 1 seed, than it does to wear them down heading into the postseason. Of course, the defense continues to be awful. Nothing short of awful. They allowed Atlanta to have 70 assists in a pair of losses on Friday and Sunday.
And if they get the 1 seed, they'll likely open with the Bulls, who swept them this year as well. Headache for odds makers. Post All-Star break. The Cavs are 12-14. The Heat are 14-9. They've also been flat out the better team. They stepped up on the road trip. They beat the Hornets. They beat stepped up on the road trip. Tough cycle of the Hornets, Raptors, and Wizards over 4 nights. Went 2-1. They only lost by 2 at Toronto. If Thompson can't go for Cleveland, Whiteside should have a big game down low.
Oh, yeah, this could be Dunk City for Whiteside. I mean, the guy's got 5 straight doubles-doubles. He's averaged 18.3 points and 14 rebounds on that 3-game road trip. And remember, when they went to place the Hornets were still alive. They were fighting Miami in the playoff berth. And Miami knocked them out. They went to Toronto, covered the number in defeat, lost by 2. Second night of back-to-backs at Washington. Take care of business. So, tough stretch. And Whiteside was a monster on that trip. And of course, they could get Dion Waiters back tonight. And if Waiters comes back, my number on Miami would be higher than that -4. But look at the quote from John Wall. Again, we always, on Sportsbook, we always like to look, what does the opposing team say after they got beat? What does the opposing coach say? Here's a great quote from John Wall after the Wizards lost on Saturday night. Quote, "They just put us in tough binds, helping with Hassan Whiteside on pick and roll. They have a lot of shooters outside that can help. Whiteside does a great job of taking away passes that you try to find to your big man and find to the shooters. Give those guys a lot of credit. No question, Pauly. Miami has been flat out better than Cleveland for the better part of the last 2 months. I would expect the point spread tonight to show that. If it doesn't, I'll have to get involved."
All right, up next, San Antonio and Portland. Live odds, sportsbookreview.com. This game is meaningless. Teddy's number, Spurs 2.5, 3 on the road. Spurs are locked into the 2. They will play Memphis in the first round of the playoffs. Portland will play Golden State. They clinched the 8th seed after Denver lost to OKC, although the Spurs lost by double digits at home Saturday night to the Clippers, and Popovich was not happy.
Oh, he sure didn't. Again, this is a team that they didn't play any starters on Friday in the win at Dallas, so he wanted to use that Clippers game as a test, per se, to see how ready they were for the playoffs. So how'd they do on the test? Well, they allowed the Clippers to shoot 50% from the floor to put 6 players in double digits. San Antonio has more than twice as many turnovers as the Clippers had in that ballgame. Which leads us to this quote from Pop. Quote, "Our execution at both games, defensively and offensively, was very poor. Nobody's going to rest. Everybody's going to play. We're already rested, everybody. We have days in between now. It's like the playoffs, kind of. There's no back-to-backs. There's no bad travel or anything like that. So it's time for rhythm and that sort of thing. Hopefully we'll play better next week. They were more aggressive than we were. They wanted the game more. We were aggressive, got into them, showed the physicality and communication necessary to win against a good team for about 6 minutes in the third quarter, and then that was that. We didn't have enough physical toughness to compete with them. In other words, Pop flat out called his team out after that loss, and this is their next game since Pop made those statements.
Portland also had issues the other night. Same night, rather. Lillard went bananas. He had 59 points. He missed 2 free throws as he was fouled shooting a 3, and he's 90%, or he would have had 60. He set the Blazers franchise record for points in a game. He had 26 in the first quarter. He outscored his teammates 59-42. Didn't get a lot of help, though, but still beat the Jazz by double digits. Quote, I was able to get rolling in the first. Usually if I have a big quarter, I take a step back, move the ball, and things like that. Tonight I never did. I stayed on the gas the whole game. The whole time, that's what I felt I needed to make sure we won the game. And Quinn Snyder tried everything, but it didn't help. That was some performance. The step-back threes, the jab step. You can't cover guys like that when they're knocking down threes that deep.
No, Lillard, I mean, when a guy like Lillard gets going, he's capable of carrying his team and hitting every shot on every possession, as he did. It is definitely a concern that he's outscoring his teammates, you know. And look, Quinn Snyder, here's the coach of the Jazz. He was terrific. We tried a number of different things against him, tried to trap him in a pick and roll, but he scored in so many different ways, we just weren't able to guard him. Yeah, that could and will happen every so often against Damian Lillard. But it's a Blazers team that just clinched their spot. They've been out-rebounded by 7 boards per game, more than 7 boards a game. Nurkic got hurt. They've lost the battle of the boards in all 5 of those games. And right now, they got no inside game on offense. Weak rebounding. This team's not necessarily built for a deep postseason run. So I wonder, San Antonio's coming to play. Does Terry Stotts back off the throttle here and keep his players fresh for Golden State? Or are they more worried about keeping that 7-game home winning streak alive when it comes to playoff confidence levels?
Nope, take the night off. Take the night off. You've earned it. They've had a terrific run down the stretch. The problem is you run into a freight train in the first round now because you screwed around for so long. And although the Nurkic trade was huge and a big reason they got in. Up next, Cubs and the Dodgers and the Clippers and the Rockets on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRPicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.
Back on SportsBit, Betting Insight today. Follow us on Twitter at Pauly Howard at Teddy_covers. One more in the association, liveoddssportsbookreview.com. Rockets and the Clippers. I would grab this if you like the Clippers now. Clippers 5, 228.5 the total. Why? Clippers trying to get home court in the first round. They know who they're going to play. They're going to play the Jazz. Clippers want to get that 4 seed. Same record as Utah, but the Clippers have the tiebreaker. They've won 5 in a row since the meltdown at home to Sacramento when they were up 18 with 5 minutes and lost. They've won 8 of 10. 2 previous meetings, Rockets ran them out. 140-116 in Houston. No CP3 or Blake in that one. And they just played... March 1st they played 122-103. Rockets won in La La Land. Houston was laying 2.5. CP3 and Blake played, but it was bombs away for the Rockets in this one. Off the back-to-back, it's D'Antoni's, but all bets are off. But I can't imagine they play anybody tonight.
Yeah, so this is one of those situations where when we record the show, we do not yet have full information on where this number's going to be. There's a couple of books that have posted 5. Already moved to 5.5. I would expect this number has the potential to skyrocket. So, if you're watching SportsBit, sooner rather than later, you like those Clippers. Do not wait. This is a run, don't walk to get to the betting window if Houston does what we think they're going to do and leave a lot of guys on the sidelines in street clothes.
Like the Clippers a lot in this one. They're playing good ball, and even if the Rockets play people, they lost as 12-point home favorites to Detroit. They didn't cover at home against Denver, and they were lucky to win that game. And they went on the road and beat Sac by 7. And I don't think they got the money, and they didn't get the money in that game either. So they're already locked in. They're going to be the 3 seed. They know they're going to play as well. I expect a big effort out of the Clippers. One more, liveoddssportsbookreview.com. They raised the banner tonight in Wrigley on ESPN. Dodgers and the Cubs. Cubs $1.55, no overnight total. At Wrigley, it's Wood against Lester, playoff rematch. Cubs won the NLCS in 6 games. They outscored the Dodgers 37-15. We told you this last year. We're going to tell you again this year. The Dodgers can't hit lefties, and it's by a wide margin. Dodgers last year, throw up that graphic. 30th in average, 30th in on-base percentage, 30th in slugging. And look what happened this year. Clayton Richards shut him down, and Kyle Freeland shut him down as well. I mean, this has been a problem. I mean, we got some money quotes coming up too, but the book's out. Everybody knows the Dodgers can't hit lefties.
Sure. And again, against righties, they're fine. You look at the numbers last year, they're number 4 in average, number 6 in on-base percentage, number 4 in slugging percentage when it comes to the southpaws. Again, I mean, Richards shut that team down. Freeland. And we're talking about how do we phrase this politely? A second-tier big league starter. And a lot of it was double play balls. I think he induced 4 of them. Got himself out of some jams. There's Freeland, his MLB debut. Not exactly the most highly touted prospect necessarily, not someone who people were in love with, mowing this team down. Now, they added Logan Forsythe to lead off and bring more punch against lefties. They've been starting Franklin Gutierrez against lefties, but those two guys are combined. What do they have? 1 RBI on the season so far. Forsythe's hitting 250. Gutierrez hitting 231. It's not like either of the two have gotten off to a particularly good start. Now, they do have Alex Wood. Of course, Alex Wood now 501 innings of work. 3.34 ERA, 3.32 FIP. Those are solid numbers for a lefty. The career peripherals, 8.1 strikeouts per 9 innings, 2.7 walks per 9, 48.7% ground ball rate. They're also rock solid. His biggest problem, Pauly, the guy who hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Yep, and here's those quotes we were talking about earlier. Opponents know about this weakness. The Cubs flip-flopped Lester and Arrieta to take advantage. Madden, quote, "This was so obvious, we couldn't walk away from it. Milwaukee's predominantly right-handed. The Dodgers are predominantly left-handed, so it was right in front of us. Dave Roberts, not a surprise. It's up to us to change the narrative. We're going to have our opportunities," end quote. Lester might be a little rusty, only 5 innings pitched in the opener at St. Louis, now more than a full week off.
Yeah, I mean, the line reflects that possibility. We're not talking about laying a huge price here with a Cubs team that you're going to have to lay a huge price with on a regular basis at home. Are you worried at all about the distraction of a night where you get the banner hung at Wrigley after 100 years? Is that a distraction or is that a motivator for you, Pauly?
No, not for this group. Not for John Lester, no. Not at all. It's going to be an electric atmosphere, though, for the Cubbies at Wrigley. It's going to be a lot of fun coming up. And a good job. Good job on the road so far.
If we got an electric atmosphere, is there somewhere we want to go with this? We talking play of the day here?
You got it. We already we gave out the Clippers as well, at least a strong lean there. And play of the day, betting number 910, Cubs minus 155. Big news here, Chris Bryant broke out of a 1-for-17 opening slump with 3 hits each of the last 2 days. Hitting's contagious. Cubs had the bats going in Milwaukee. Carries over tonight. Cubs to cash the ticket, minus 155. Hey, we're feeling good. We got in there Friday night with the Orioles, Teddy. About time.
Yeah, never in doubt.
Yes. Right.
I had the Orioles on Saturday, which is another in doubt. Man, there was a ton of bad beats this weekend, really, across sports. Fun to talk about. Always fun hanging out with you guys. We'll do it again tomorrow on Tuesday, right here on SportsBit on SBRPicks.com.